Welcome to our mini workshop today called "What to Do in a Conversation When Emotions Flare." What to do in a conversation when emotions flare. Hi, I'm Peggy O'Neill. Even though I stumbled getting started today, I'm the founder of Answering the Call, which is a Facebook group where we respond to that call, that longing, that sense of something's missing. I know there's something else for me to be or do. There's something calling to me. So we answer that call by knowing who we truly are. That's the first level of that call, is finding out who we truly are, because in that opens up whole new possibilities for how to relate to ourselves, other people, the world. So we first answer that call, and then usually when we answer that call and possibilities start opening for us, we feel more alive. Then we start asking, and how do I express that in my own unique way? So we explore that as well in this group and with the work that we do. So thank you for being here today. And let's see. All right, so I think I said I'm Peggy O'Neill. And if you're here in person, please say hi. If you're watching this on replay, please put in hashtag replay. If you have any questions or comments anytime, please put them in the chat and I will answer your questions. Okay, so today, what to do in a conversation when emotions flare. So let's say you're in a challenging conversation. You already know, or maybe it started off without any emotions in particular out of the ordinary, and then you get into a subject matter or that something while you're talking gets you or the other person anxious in some way emotionally, and you can tell that instead of a harmonious conversation, that we're out of sync. Something's off. We're not getting along, and we can tell it's starting to get tense or angry or fearful, anything like that. So the first thing that you want to do when that happens is to acknowledge it. Say, "Oh, sorry. It's great to apologize. Sorry." Or okay, sorry that this has happened. I can tell that we're something's come up for you, or you could say, for me, something's come up for me, and let's talk about that before we try to move forward. So that's one thing that you can do to take care of yourself and be responsible, as we said that we would talk about today, how to take care of yourself, responsibly continue if appropriate, and repair the relationship if necessary. So that's one way to take care of yourself and to be responsible, is to acknowledge that is what has now become the elephant in the room. You can both feel it. So acknowledge, okay, something happened here. And don't worry about saying it correctly. The most important thing is that people feel like you're present, that you're talking to them, with them. And so you almost, I don't know if you ever hear me teach any wording or techniques. It's really more being in the moment and seeing what comes to you to say. So, but acknowledging, oh, seems like I might have touched a nerve, or other way around, oh, what you just said is putting me off a little bit, or is uncomfortable for me. And so let's pause for a minute and talk about that. Now, let's say it's gotten really, really, really tense. Like, you're so angry, you can tell that it's going to totally damage the relationship. You're not going to get anywhere with it. Then it's okay to say, hey, I'm really getting emotional right now, or I'm really having a problem staying in this conversation right now, and I think it's best that we take a break. Now it could be a 2-minute break. I just need to go out in the hall. I need to take a few breaths. I'll be back in a minute. Or you could say, this is bothering me so much that I need an hour or a day, whatever you need. And you just tell them that, and then say, is that all right with you? And then let's say that, no, we've got to continue. Well, give me a few minutes then before we continue. I've just got to calm down because I want to be able to engage with you in a way that's productive for both of us. And then sometimes we do actually have to leave. Now I know that can be, if you're talking with your boss, um, or yeah, mainly if you're talking with a boss or something, that you might feel that you can't leave. You might have to, or that you practice what I'm saying right now enough that you take some breaths at other times when you're angry or upset, so that you can get yourself calmed down. So you want to make sure you can get yourself calmed down in case you wind up being in that situation. Now, what do I mean by that, being calmed down? Your emotions might still really be intense, but you don't have to express them. One time I was working with a colleague, and I was really not happy with how the relationship was going, the work she was doing, because I felt like I was doing all the marketing, all that kind of work, and she wasn't doing any of it. And so we met, and I told her up front, and I'm really angry about this. I'm really not happy with how we're working together. So I acknowledged it, and I felt it, but I contained it. I was respectful of her, respectful of me. I don't want to be known as someone who can't control themselves and act responsibly and respectfully with another person. But I felt those intense emotions the whole time. I just didn't let myself express them. Now, if you happen to do that, as you've also heard me say many times, you're not doing anything wrong. There are consequences, but you haven't done anything wrong if that happens. There are just different consequences because when we act out. So we've talked about acknowledging the situation. Take some breaths. If you can't, especially if you can't take a break, just pause. Just stop talking. They can keep talking. Take some breaths. Help yourself calm down. Again, stop and return later if at all possible. And then remember who you and they are. So in that moment, it might seem like, okay, we're two separate beings that are they're totally out of touch and not on the same page. So you can think that way. Or you can remember, okay, wait a minute. I like to think of it as a divine being. They're a divine being just like me. In fact, they're another aspect of me. And just remind yourself that they're another aspect of me. We are one. We are one. So you might think, well, okay, it's nice for you to say, Peggy, but I've done all this for years and years and years. When I lived with my mom, and she intentionally would try to get me angry. She would say, don't you want to argue about this? Whatever it was. And I would have to do everything we're talking about right now. I'd just stop talking. I'd take some breaths, and I would do that. Remind me, like, she's a divine being. She's just being a tornado over there. Now that's another good, that is kind of a technique, but that's another good technique to use. That's just somebody over there doing their thing. I don't have to let them bother me. They're being a tornado. But who I am is this loving, peaceful, fulfilled being. And you can relax the focus of attention from all of that. Relax the focus of attention and sink back into who you truly are. Does that take practice? Yes. Can you do it the first time? Yes. I did it once, and I never stopped doing it because I knew if I started getting caught up in all of that, those antics going on, I'd have to start all over again. Because I wanted to learn to be with her. Well, not learn. I wanted to transform myself to be with her always in a calm and peaceful and loving way, no matter what she was doing over there. So it does take a while for that to become natural, but it can be. It was beautiful. We fell in love with each other. I can't give you a greater gift than that. And so even if it's your boss or a coworker, you might not feel that kind of love that I did for my mom, but you can definitely feel an open-hearted respect and care the more you practice this. If it's somebody that it's constantly a lot of tension that you're having with. Okay, so I think that's it. Let me see if there are any questions or comments. None. Okay. If you have any after you, at the end of this call, then please put them in the chat, and I will come back and answer them. Keep saying chat, comments. Put them in the comments. Okay. So what to do in a conversation when emotions flare? So take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. So that's stopping, that's breathing, that's reminding yourself who you truly are. Um, yeah. And then responsibly continue if you can. So you don't want to lash out if at all possible. It can really damage your relationship. You can ask to stop and return later. If it's 2 minutes, an hour, the next day, a week later. And then remember who you and they are, and as you do that, then you can relax the focus of attention and seek back. Now, again, that's the one that really takes practice, because if you haven't gone there a lot, sinking back and knowing your essential nature, then it can be challenging to do it in an intense situation. Okay, and then I also said repair the relationship if necessary. So you can get really out of sync, you can get into real uncomfortable situation, and then you want to check in with even if you finish the conversation, you kind of think, well, I think everything's okay. You can ask, okay, we just had this intense conversation. How are we doing? How are we doing? And then they'll tell you. They could say, fine. No, it's not. You could say that. You go, okay, I appreciate that, but I can tell they're still not okay. So what do we want to talk about so that we can repair our relationship, or so that we can have a relationship going forward where we can work together and listen to each other and then just talk about it. There's, again, no formula, no right answer. You just start the conversation. Might take more than one conversation. But I've had, as a coach, I've done this many a time over the years, because I've let clients know that when they're trying to pull something over on me, I've let them know. I'm going, okay, and then I'll politely let them know that I can tell there's something's not quite fitting here, and then they get all kind of shaky because somebody saw them, and then they can be kind of testy the rest of the call or for a while. And then I'll ask them, how are we doing? Are we okay? And they always say yes, because they want the results that we said we're going to work on. And they know that I would not have addressed the situation if I didn't care for them and care for what they want. It's so easy to ignore it, sweep it under the rug, but I care enough, and people know that I'm going to address the situation. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to stand up for them and what's possible for them and myself. I promised them that I'll be honest, so I'm going to stand up for that. And then sometimes we have real challenging conversations, and then I check in. So how are we doing? Oh, okay, it'll be okay. And then I might still be uncomfortable that day, because we can get embarrassed. We can get emotions still be high. But that's okay. That's okay. So the overarching theme, you probably can tell with all of this, is that the main idea is to keep the relationship intact. It's all about relationships, all of it. No matter what anybody's told you in business, it's all about business. No, it's not. It's all about relationships. Everything is relationships, including our relationship with ourselves. Okay, so I hope this has been useful for you. Let me know. Let me know next time you have a challenging conversation. Come back and tell us in the comments how it went. Okay. Thank you. We'll see you next time.